This is News 8 Now in high definition.
Tonight, mixed emotions of sadness and anger after losing their homes to a fire.
Also left with a head injury after a raid in a Fort Worth bar. Today, this man defends himself for the first time.
And Chrysler and GM will be able to rebuild themselves, building better cars. But will they still protect their old cars? Good afternoon, I'm Jessica Williams.
And I'm Kimberly Miller. This is the News 8 Summer 2009 Intern Newscast. After recently filing for bankruptcy, Chrysler and GM hope to come back stronger. Yet part of their restructuring plans may affect you. The court has decided Chrysler can shed all lawsuits filed against them before the bankruptcy. Stephanie Hastings spoke to one Dallas family who is feeling the effect of this decision firsthand.
Friends say Eagle Scout leader Mike Rambo was a hard-working American, his son's hero and his wife's best friend.
If we had one last day to spend with Daddy, we would have spent it just like that.
The family was coming home from a spring break camping trip when their Chrysler Jeep Cherokee rolled over. Mike's seatbelt came unlatched during the accident. He was ejected from the car and killed.
I said, Daddy, are you there? And he just wasn't in the car.
Unfortunately, a lawsuit against Chrysler is not an option.
The only time we've ever needed this or wanted this or needed this kind of help, they're legally telling us we can't.
The Rambos are not the only family affected by the Chrysler and GM bankruptcies. All of the thousands of cases filed against Chrysler are essentially dead. And tomorrow, the court will decide if GM can also walk away from its liabilities.
Bankruptcy gives companies a fresh start, but it limits the consumer's ability to bring a lawsuit.
You are driving around in a vehicle right now. You haven't even had an accident yet. And if you do have an accident and you are doing nothing wrong and you are killed, you were rendered a quadriplegic or a paraplegic, you have no legal recourse to go against Chrysler.
The Rambos attorney says the family's only course of action is to sue the dealership or the manufacturer of the seatbelt. While Chrysler's bankruptcy was completely legal, it has left families like the Rambos feeling as though Chrysler has walked away from its responsibilities.
Since emerging from bankruptcy, the new government-owned GM has agreed to accept future product liability claims. But like Chrysler, pending and old lawsuits against GM will not be picked up by the new company. Bankruptcy court has given Chrysler and GM the chance to reorganize and rebuild. Stephanie Hastings, Channel 8 News.
It's the news that shocked the world. Music lost its king of pop. Michael Jackson died at the age of 50 after going into cardiac arrest. As a kid, he was a star of the Jackson 5. As a solo artist, Jackson became an icon. His album, Thriller, is the best-selling album of all time. Jackson had been rehearsing for his comeback. The This Is It tour offered 50 concerts in London.
I feel the king of pop is not big enough for him. I think he is simply the greatest entertainer that ever lived.
Thousands gathered at the Staples Center in Los Angeles for the memorial service. Celebrities and friends honored not only the performer, but Jackson, the man. His daughter Paris gave her father an emotional goodbye.
Just wanted to say, speak up, sweetheart, speak up. Get close. Ever since I was born, Daddy has been the best father you could ever imagine. And I just wanted to say I love him so much.
Questions about custody of his children, his estate, bizarre life, and death remain unanswered, but today millions remembered his music. Jackson's mother, Catherine, has temporary custody of his 3 children and is expected to get full custody by next week. The Los Angeles Courier's office will release the autopsy results next week. The LA Police Department is investigating Jackson's personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray.
The first Dallas City furlough days left people confused and surprised. The July 4th weekend was over, but City Hall doors were still closed. Due to the budget cuts, city services extended the holiday weekend through Monday. Pools, libraries, and recreation centers also closed. The next furlough days will be during Labor Day weekend. During those 2 holidays, the city will save $1.7 million. At least 4 more are planned during this year. Former Dallas Mayor Pro Tem Don's Hill trial started on June 22nd. Hill is accused of accepting hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes from developers. In exchange, developers got the okay to build low-income housing projects. The FBI started investigation after developer Bill Fisher became their informant. Hill says he is innocent and will testify later in the trial. During the trial, prosecutors have been playing selections from wiretap conversations between defendants. 6 of the 14 defendants have pleaded guilty.
The Coast Guard ended the search for a North Texas plane that crashed into the Gulf of Mexico. The plane was flying from McKinney to Tampa when it went down. It could take weeks to figure out what caused the plane. The Dallas aviation attorney says he already suspects what's partially the blame. Channel 8's Christian Rodriguez reports.
The search for survivors is over. Now investigators look into why a North Texas plane crashed off the Gulf of Mexico.
What caught my attention when I first heard about this crash was, why did that airplane go into that weather? Most likely broke up in flight.
Dallas aviation attorney John Kettles doesn't represent anyone involved, but his experience tells him that air traffic controllers might bear some responsibility.
The controllers would have had some indication of the intensity of this weather on their scopes. And they're required to tell pilots about that.
You can see the small plane's flight path in green leaving North Texas there. It went down 42 miles from the coast of Florida, killing 5.
The case I had handled previously in northern Florida.
2 years ago, Kettle sued the government after a deadly crash. In his case, the pilot flew into a severe storm without any indication. NTSB investigators said the controller's lack of a weather warning was a factor.
Unfortunately, there have been quite a few cases where controllers don't give the required warnings and pilots inadvertently or unknowingly fly into extreme weather and the airplane comes apart in flight.
The NTSB cites at least 4 other deadly accidents where controllers didn't notify pilots of strong weather. It's not known what was said over the radio last Wednesday before the plane disappeared from radar. The NTSB says the pilots are primarily responsible for avoiding severe weather and not controllers. Reporting, Christian Rodriguez for Channel 8 News.
This summer started with a historic change in television. On June 12th, television switched from analog to digital signal. Thanks to DTV, every station, including WFAA, now offers better quality of picture and sound.
The General Motors plant in Arlington started production in July after a 2-month shutdown. This is GM's only full-size SUV plant. In August, there will be another mandatory 2-week vacation. GM came out of bankruptcy protection in July.
Shock turned to anger for residents watching their apartment complex burn after learning a neighbor may have started it. Channel 8's Ariel Bradford joins us in the newsroom with details. Ariel?
Kim, a witness tells police this all started after a woman lit a dress on fire. That woman was taken into police custody, but not before some tense moments with neighbors.
People at Millennium Point apartment complex watch their homes go up in flames and realize they have lost everything. Many residents are angry because the person that they say started the fire lives in the building.
It was gulfed up in the front, and the guy said, she done ran away. She said that car went on fire.
Apartment owners have accused their neighbor, Ebony Collins, of starting the fire. Arson investigators took Collins into custody, and sources say that they saw Collins light a dress on fire in her apartment and then left the scene. Regina Jefferson, former caretaker of Collins, says that Collins is mentally ill, but she has been able to live on her own for 5 months.
She completed a program that I had, and she was able to get her own place because at the time she was stable on her meds and she was able to live on her own.
Maria Soto and her 2 boys live next door to Collins and say that she has complained before to management about her neighbor's behavior.
You know, I'm sad right now. Where am I going to sleep right now? Like me, I work hard every day. Let me tell you that. I work hard every day. I work hard for Lee and Grace and my 2 boys.
Like Soto, 40 residents of Building 13 have lost all that they have and now have to pick up the pieces and start over.
A 13-year-old boy did jump from the 3rd floor of the apartment building because he was afraid the firefighters would not get to him in time. He was taken to the hospital to check out his injuries and is expected to make a full recovery. Also, the American Red Cross and the Salvation Army provided food and water to the residents of this complex. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Ariel Bradford, Channel 8 News.
Still ahead, Extreme Home Makeover is back in North Texas, this time to help a police officer.
And the Cowboys kick off the first day of training camp in San Antonio and prepare for a new season. More to come on Channel 8 Intern Newscast. This summer, the Marshall family will be sleeping in their new Extreme Makeover home for the first time.
Dallas police officer Carlton Marshall was shot in the neck while working with the SWAT team. Samuel Lowe is in Lancaster with the details.
The construction of this extreme home is over, and it is built for the wounded police officer, Carlton Marshall. This home is wheelchair accessible. It is easier for him to get around.
Carlton Marshall was shot during a drug bust in 2007. He says the new house in Lancaster will change his life.
This house is a beautiful house, and I love the independence it's going to give me.
The Marshall family has received about $100,000 in donations, which will be used to pay off their mortgage.
Every time I walk through that front door, I'm going to think about the love that went into this home.
An army of volunteers showed up at the home near Lancaster a week ago. They sent the family on a vacation and then tore down the old home. Construction started last Friday on the family's brand new place. In less than a week, 300 volunteers have participated in this construction. A 4,000 square foot home started taking shape. Despite the consecutive high temperature days, volunteers kept on until the end.
Carlton Marshall will settle down everything this week. The Marshall family expressed their gratitude to the community and all the volunteers. Carlton says he still hopes to get back to work. Samuel Lowe, Channel 8 News.
No cash is needed on the Bush Turnpike. The NTTA has a new electronic toll collecting system. Cameras will snap shots of license plates. Drivers without a toll tag will get a bill in the mail. The NTTA says this will be faster than collecting cash. Toll tag information is available on our website, WFAA.com/links.
NTTA is taking action to prevent wrong-way crashes along the Dallas North Tollway. By the end of July, all exit ramps in the tollway will have reflective payment markers. Markers will reflect red to drivers trying to enter through the exit ramp. NTTA has also put up an additional 25 wrong-way and do not enter signs. This year, 4 people have died in 4 wrong-way crashes on the tollway. NTTA is considering other changes which will be presented to the board next month. This summer, a raid at a gay bar in Fort Worth caused controversy. Now the Rainbow Lounge and gay community demand justice. On June 28th, 2 Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission officers and 7 Fort Worth police officers raided the newly opened bar during the raid. Chad Gibson suffered a head injury, sending him to the hospital for several days. Police says Gibson was drunk and hit his head. Witnesses in Gibson say it was excessive force.
They have, blamed it on me that I was drunk. I fell and hit my head. I groped the officer. I did this. I did that. You know what? No. That's not, accept responsibility.
Both TABC and police are conducting internal investigations. Finding will be reviewed by the U.S. Attorney General. Known as the most trusted man in America, the legendary Walter Cronkite died at age 92.
It is. This is the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite.
20 million Americans watched the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite for 19 years. Cronkite guided the country during the defining moments: President Kennedy's assassination, the Vietnam War, the moon landing, and many others. Cronkite left a legacy hard to match. He defined the role of an anchor, set standards for newscasts, and delivered the news like no one in television history. So, summer is about to end, but the Cowboys football season is about to start. How do you feel about that, Matt?
Hey, it's not a moment too soon because my driving was getting a little unsafe at first when I would be going by the new Cowboys Stadium. I'd just be turning my head when I pass it, but it's gotten better now. So, season of new beginnings for my driving and the Cowboys as they start training camp in San Antonio. More when we get back. A lot has changed for the Cowboys since last season. They're not playing in the old Texas Stadium anymore. Terrell Owens is gone. Plus, quarterback Tony Romo and Jessica Simpson ended their relationship. What seemed like a bad soap opera is over, and the Cowboys can look to play in a new season. But first, there must be training camp. And that's where we go at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. The Cowboys start their second practice at camp, but it's their first day in full pads. Still not any real hard hitting like you'd see in a football game. No need to hurt someone, of course. Romo is getting used to some new different plays. He said they added some new ones, but new plays doesn't just change a quarterback.
I'm still myself. You know, there's not going to be anything that I'm going to, change. The only way that you can continue to get better and continue to try and achieve your goals is to, keep going forward.
The Cowboys have 29 practices left in the camp before they start their 50th season. He was on the DL for a month, but now he's back. Ranger center fielder and all-star Josh Hamilton returns to the batting lineup. He heads out west with the team to take on the Angels. The Rangers are only one game behind the Angels after their series against the Rays. Now it's time to buckle down before the All-Star break.
We've came out of our swing, and right now we're playing good baseball again. And our one thing that we really want to do is continue with going through the second half.
There's still a long way to go, but we want to, in the first half or whatever you call it before the All-Star break, on a high note, and be able to hang out with your family or whatever you do in the All-Star break, have a little positive feeling coming back.
Now the Rangers are sending 2 players to this year's All-Star game. Josh Hamilton is in, so is Michael Young. But Ian Kinsler is out, for now. Tim Jones explains how Ranger fans have a second chance to send Kinsler to St. Louis.
Rangers second baseman Ian Kinsler didn't make the All-Star game after being passed during the final week of voting. He says he'd like to join teammates Josh Hamilton and Michael Young in St. Louis, but it'll take a little help from the fans to get him there.
It's the way it goes. I mean, it's the process that, everyone goes through to try to make it to an All-Star game.
Kinsler finished second to Boston's Dustin Pedroia in fan voting at his position, and second to Toronto's Aaron Hill in player voting at second base.
Kinsler still has a chance to make it to St. Louis for the All-Star game. He's one of 5 players fans can vote for online for the final AL roster spot.
I guess there's 5 more guys or whatever they got the fans voting, and see what happens.
Kinsler does have competition for the spot, including Sean Figgins of the Angels, Brandon Inge of the Tigers, Adam Lind of the Blue Jays, and Carlos Pena of the Rays. Kinsler says getting the fans involved is a good thing.
It's cool. I like the whole idea of the fan voting. I mean, sometimes, guys get left out, and guys are having a great season, they get left out. But, I think it's cool to have the fans involved.
This is the 8th year fans have been able to vote for the 33rd and final player, but Kinsler is the first Ranger to have that chance for the final roster spot. For Channel 8 Sports, I'm Tim Jones.
Seems like a win-win situation. Vacation if you don't make it, All-Star break if you do make it. So that's it for the summer in sports.
Thank you, Matt. And now we have the video of a historic day for all mankind. 40 years ago this summer, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to walk on the moon. NASA's Apollo 11 accomplished its mission on July 20th, 1969. And this concludes our summer intern newscast.
For all the interns at WFAA, thank you and good night.